Yeah, good morning, everybody. So today I wanted to cover using Mobirise. It's a really simple program to build your website. It's good for quick and dirty websites. They have tons of templates that are available. So we can go over some of that. The software itself with some of the basic templates is for free. If you want to buy the entire package of all the templates and everything that they have to offer, it's a little over $100. So depending on what you're doing with websites, if you're building simple websites for friends or clients or, or even for yourself, it's not a bad choice. It's not as robust as Wix, or especially if you're to get something like Squarespace. But if you have all of the images and the text prepared, it will take you the better part of a morning to build an entire website, and that's it. So you guys have maybe 3 to 4 weeks to work on this, and that should be plenty of time. Plenty of time. Okay. So let me show you how this works. This is the one that I built for myself that some of you have seen. Hold on here. David. Before I continue, I'm going to go ahead and answer live to David. When you're done with your Wix website, yes, you do email it to me at kirkmillerart@gmail.com. Email me the link to your URL and make sure that in the subject you put your name, Art 196, and Wix website, so that I know whose it belongs to, what class it's for, and what the project is. Okay, and then this Thursday, we're going to have a critique of the websites that I've received so far. So that could take a while, or it could be very short. We will see. So anyway, once you have downloaded Mobirise and installed their free version, we can go over here to the left, this left button right here. And what you want to do is make sure that you establish your account. So whatever website you use, I'm already logged in, and I'm using this email here, then you're going to want to go ahead and put that in. Okay, so that gets you linked to them and their sites. If you want to look at extensions, these are some, additional extensions that they have for purchase. So I know that there was one person in the class that does beauty aids and that sort of thing, and makeup. So, but that's a $50 add-on, but it could save you lots of hours. They have other ones for architects. They have other ones for handymen, for sound, all kinds of stuff. It's worth going through these and seeing what if anything pertains to your interest or maybe a client of yours, and then go ahead and buy it. And as I said, if you want the whole package, right here, this is the Mobirise kit. You get all of the Mobirise themes and extensions for $130. When you buy them individually, it adds up. So they're really kind of encouraging you to buy the whole package, and that's what I have. To update your package gets a little weird sometimes, but that's for another day, how you do that. Because they will send you an email with the links for the passcodes or the little number that you have to use to get you to use it, enable you to use it to redeem it. Okay. In order to redeem it, you have to, you click redeem, and then you have to enter the code, and they will generally email that to you. So again, they have them for travel, they have them for realty, weddings, all kinds of stuff. And it works pretty, it's, as I said, it's really easy to use. So that's what we're going to do. So once you've established your account, now you need to create a site. And you'll notice that I have 3 of them in here. There's a duplicate of one of them that I maintain. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new one here just by creating the plus. And of the templates that I have readily available to me, I'm just going to pick this one down here, just plain old Mobirise. So you need to start with a template before you get going, because there are plugins and there are little extensions that are available only with that template. You can't intermix them, you know, with one template and another. It's one template or another you have to choose from. So I'll click that one. And you can see that it starts off just blank. It's just a blank screen, nothing else. And they're pretty straightforward here. It says click to start. So if I click on this little button right here, notice over to the left or to the right, it opens up a whole slew of possibilities here for me. And, you know, to follow what we've done pretty much with Dreamweaver, I would want to start with the Nav Bar first. So I'm going to go ahead and just click, and this is one. And there are a couple of different navigation bars that are available here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. You want this one, I can select this one, and I can delete it if I want. And we can try another one instead. So let's try this one instead. And you just click and you just drag it over. Okay. So that's how they work. And then when you're done with it, you come back and now you add another element. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go through some of these and add the elements and then start to customize it. So I'm going to delete this one and I'm going to go back to what we started with. I kind of like the simple approach. Just click this one and bring it over. Okay, now I can take another. Now, what kind of background do I want for my splash page? Now, the one that I've picked in the past was this one right here. This is what I use for my own personal website, and you can see that that brings that over. And now, in a few minutes, we'll go ahead and we will edit it and bring in other images and decide, you know, more what we're going to do with this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just do a single page here. So you'll notice that if we want to add media, we can do that. We have footers. We have articles that we can add. Okay. So maybe what I want to add here, let's go ahead and come up here for a minute. There's lots of different possibilities available here. So I'm going to come down here. Let's go ahead and add this. Okay, so modern styles. Okay. Now after that, maybe I want something that I can go ahead and I can add more content down here. Maybe after that, I'm going to put a slideshow. So I'm going to scroll down here and we'll put that in here. So that's going to come in after that. So there's my slideshow. After that, maybe we can put in a footer of some sort. So let's go ahead and add this one. Put this in afterwards. And then we can come down here. We've got other stuff here we want for social media. Can add a wow slider. That's enough for right now. Okay. So now we need to fiddle with this. So let's start by editing. Let's go ahead and close this. And we can start by editing the nav bar. So if I click on it you'll notice that we can see in the upper right-hand corner, these are the block parameters. I can, move it up or down. I can delete it, and I can begin to edit all of this. So let's go ahead and I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to go to site for a minute. And actually, I'm going to go to pages. Let's try that. And I'm going to look for the home page. I'm going to look at, rename the page and edit the meta tags here. So, I'll leave it at its home. And as page description, we'll name this, what are we going to do? Let's name it test page for Art 196 demo. Okay, and you'll notice down here the page URL. Notice that they've already assigned it index.html, and they're giving you some insight into the code right there. And it's also from here as well that if I want to add new pages, instead of doing just the one page that scrolls up and down, this is where I would do that. If I want to clone the page, I can, which isn't a bad idea. And then you can, because it leaves the nav bar intact. And it also, then you can delete certain elements and you can put other stuff in there. That would be one way of doing that. Okay, so I'll close that. And we'll close that again. So let's come in here and let's start to edit some of this stuff. So I'm going to click this little button right here where it says block parameters. So do I want to show the, whoops, let's go close that again. I don't want that open. Let's look here. Do I want to show the logo or not? Now, this is Mobirise's logo, but you can replace your own. Okay. If I click on here and turn it off, then it's gone. So, but if I want to bring it back, I can. And we can go back again and double click on here. And if I want to bring in my own logo, I can. So I click here. And if I have images available for my logo, I would bring it in. But I don't have any for this particular website. But that's what you would do. And you would replace theirs with your own. And if you want to link, notice you can link the image to a particular website, which would be this one. It could be linked to another website, which I have also done. Okay. If I want to edit the title, an alt tag and title, I can do that. So the alt tag is Mobirise. So I'm going to put this, the alt tag is going to be Art 196. And if you want a title for this, we'll just name it home page for web design. So when I click there, we're done. But I'm going to go back again and I'm going to turn that part off. I'm going to go ahead and decide I don't want the logo. But I am going to go ahead and I'm going to change this. And I just highlight the text and I put in, Art 196. So I've changed that. If you want to change the color of the text, I click here. So if I'd rather use this color, red, or if I want to go back to the gray that I used before, the light gray, I can. If you want this to link someplace else, I can. I can click here, and maybe I want it to link to my own personal website instead, so you can have, an external link in here. So at the present time, and this is where you're going to have to go in and change all of these features. That by default it links to Mobirise's website. Well, I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to put kmart66.com. Now, do you want this to open in a new window? Sure, I do. And I'll go ahead and I'll insert the link. If you want, you can use, instead of a link, you could use an email address. You could put in a phone number. You could insert a file. You could have it linked to another page. So I'm going to go ahead here. Let's go back to what we have here. We had email address, and I'm just going to insert link. So the next thing that we want to do now is change some of these other features over here. So you'll notice that right now we have home, about, contact already set up. So it asks, do you want to show brand name? If I turn that off, that turned off what I just finished. I want to leave that one turned on. If I come back again, it says show buttons. I can turn that off. And I don't want, that's the button to the right. Okay, that's the one that was over here. So let me turn that back on again so you can see what that is. See that button where it says download? I don't want that for mine. So I'm going to turn that off. Okay, do you want it to be sticky or not? I'll leave it sticky. You want it collapsed or not? You can see how when it collapses, then you just get the hamburger sign always. And I don't want that. So I'm going to leave it open like so. You want it transparent. So if you want it transparent and you want it to overlay your background image, then you can do that. That's another option. Okay. Then what color do you want for the background? So right now, the default is this black or deep gray. Maybe I want a medium tone gray. So let's try that. Okay. Or maybe I want an orange, or maybe if I want more, I can click in here. And if you want to put in a hexadecimal number or pick, you know, a web safe color, you can put that in there too. Okay. So let's leave it the gray for right now. Okay. So I've made some changes. And then for the hamburger color change, I'm going to leave it white because I'm using white for the links that I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. Now I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, let's go ahead and close it. And now what I want to do is if I select this, I can go ahead and I can add another button. But maybe I want the about, I want to put it after about. So I'm going to go ahead and add another one. And I'm going to add another one after that. So this one I'm going to rename resume. So this is similar to what we were doing in the Wix website. So this will be resume. And this one will be portfolio. Okay. Now, home just brings me right here. So I don't have to put anything in here. But if I click here and I put the link, okay, I don't want it to go to mobirise.com. I want it to go to a page. I want it to go to, if we have been given a URL, I can go to, instead, let's go to a page, and I'll go ahead here. And I just want it to go to the home page. Okay. And I don't want it to open it in a new window. So I'll go ahead and I'll insert the link. The about, let's go ahead down here and let's say, let's name this my about down here. Okay. Now I don't have much, and this, we'll make this one down here with the 3 columns, my resume. Although I think I would have picked another template to do that. But we'll call this about me. Okay. Okay. And let's scroll back up, and I'm going to come back in here. And let's highlight that. Come on. Whoops, wrong thing here. There we go. So if I double click on it, now I'll go ahead and I'll add the link. And I want it to link to a particular page. But how about instead of a file, let's go in here. Browse, phone, email, web address, page. I want to block on this page. So I'm making it a home page, the single page, but I want it to link to a specific block on this page. And you can see that these are all the blocks that I have created so far. So if I wanted to go to the top of the page, I can. If I wanted to go to header 4.3, if I wanted to go to the message box, this is where I wanted to go. This is what they named it, but it's going to go ahead here when I publish it. Do I want it to open in a new page? No. We'll go ahead and insert the link. And then the next one, the resume, we'll go ahead and we'll add that link. And again, I want it to go to the page. I want it to go to the home page. I want it to go to the block on the page. And as I go over here, let's go to testimonials. That's going to be my resume for this particular demonstration. Okay. And then the portfolio, we're going to go ahead and we're going to link to that. And I'm just following the same thing. Page, I want it to be to the home page, and I want it to be to a specific block. So if I go to the gallery, here's my gallery. So I'll link it to that. And then the contact page is going to be at the very bottom. So again, I'm going to add my link. I want it to go to the page. I want it to go to home page. So it just stays right here. And we go in here and I go to contacts down here. Boom. So if I want to see how this thing works, or if I want to see what my page looks like in on a phone, I can click up here, and this is what it looks like when it changes to a phone. Now there isn't, these are the only two media queries that they have for a large screen and for a phone. They don't have any intermediate ones the way that we have made them inside Dreamweaver. And that you're kind of stuck with, but it is responsive. It does work pretty nicely. And if I wanted to go back to the major screen, I click right here to a large screen and you can see how it looks. Now, probably before I go any further, one of the things that you should do is to create a folder on your computer that will become the root folder for this. And you can open this up later on in Dreamweaver and publish it there. Or on another day, we will go back into Infinity, freeinfinity.net, and we maybe will create another account with them, and we will publish it there. And you can either use Dreamweaver or you can either use their site information and upload it through their own site there. I'm going to go back in contact here for a minute. I don't want that to be all caps. There we go. I will leave that all caps. Now, at any later time, if you want to change the color, if you want to add, if you want to move this to the left or to the right, that's what this little button does. So for example, if I click on this one, notice that I can move it to the left or to the right. So let's say I wanted the resume page first. Let me move it. That was the wrong thing. Let's go ahead here. I don't want that there. I guess I would have to delete it and then insert it. I know that there's a way of moving it around. I'm just not thinking at the moment. If you want to change the font size, right now the default font is Roboto, which is not bad. And these are all the fonts that you have at your disposal. Okay, not a whole, whole bunch, but it's not bad. Okay. So let's click down here. Let's work on this. So this is going to be our website. Can't type. Come on. $9.86. Okay. And introductory. And you can see as I'm typing in here, You can have it centered. You can change the color of the text. Now, if I click on the little arrow, it gives me more options here. Again, if I want to change the font, if I want to change the size, these are the default specifications that they've given us at the moment. So an introduction to web design. So before long, I'm cranking through this. And as I said, if you have your images ready to go, then it won't take long to do this. Now, likewise, the way I was able to edit my nav bar, I can come down here and we can edit parts of this. If I want this for Mac or for Windows, I don't need that stuff. Or if I wanted a link to something else, I can. But again, as soon as I click in this particular component of our website, I can click on here for its properties. Do I want to show the title or not? Yes, I do. Do I want to show the text? Yes, I do. But that would remove that. Do I want to show buttons? No, I don't want that. Do I want the content centered? Or do I want it left? Or do I want it to the right? So maybe instead, I wanted it to the right. And that would give me an option. That's not a bad choice there. Okay. Now we can come back in here, and now we have the background image. So if you want to select the background image or color, we can just click on the image right here. And I'm going to go ahead, and I would prefer to use one of my own images, but for the time being, just for this class, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select one of theirs. Okay. And I'm going to click OK. And there you have it. Now you can see that there's a conflict here, that I've come back in here and I probably need to highlight the text. And instead of, oh, come on. Oh, there we go. Change the color from here. So maybe I'll go to kind of a charcoal gray. And an introduction to web design, because I figure it's not that critical there. Maybe I should come back in here and change the color of it. So let's click on here. And let's do the same thing. I'll make this kind of a charcoal. Well, maybe it's time to go for a lighter color. This one might work. But again, when you scroll, it disappears. So again, maybe I need to go with a color in here instead of going with black and white. Or I need to pick another image or something like that. But it's those sorts of things that you need to test. So as I'm going through here, each one of these, we can decide, do you want it here? Or do you want it to change the location? Or do you want to add other elements to it? We drop all the way down to the bottom. So let's leave let's go ahead and name this. This is, I said, is going to be my resume. Right. Now, other things that we can do too in here is, if I go in here, if you want to change the padding on the top or the bottom, you can. And notice that each one of these added elements has a number of things that we can change here. So maybe instead of 3 columns, I just want to go 2. Or maybe instead, if I go back in here, maybe I want 1 column. So for a resume, that might not be a bad idea. I just want 1 big column in here, and that's it. Okay. So it does give you options in here. They're kind of nice. And then the same goes for the images. When I click on here, okay, and I click in here, let's move my image here around. We can add images to this. We can change the images to this. And we can scroll across left or right. And let's say I want to start by changing this image. So if I click on that, whoops, sorry, I just select that and then I double click on this one directly below it. Now I can pick that image or I can pick other images. These are the ones that they have for placeholders. But again, instead of selecting the browse, what I would want to do is I want to browse my own computer. Okay. Now, let's see if I can't find quickly. I'm going to go to, I know that I had one here. This is where preparation of your own images would be really critical. So if I had, let's try this. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go to the desktop. I'm going to go to documents on my computer here. And I'm going to go on Perk and I'm going to look in web files. And I'm going to try to find some of the ones that I have from my Mobirise website, or I can pick the ones that I have for my own personal one. And I'm going to look inside, not handouts, but I'm going to look inside my image folder. Okay. So let's look inside here in their assets. So let's take this one here, and I'm going to open that. Okay. So now I'm picking from my own computer, and if you already had them inside your own root folder that you just created, we could go ahead and do that. And now I've substituted their image with mine. And notice that there's a slight difference in size. So that's something that you want to do if you want to make this look nice, is that you want to be consistent in size so that you don't get this irregularity. I can come back and I can edit these. So if I come back and I select this again, because it really looks better if you have kind of an even approach here. We can come back in here and I can take the last one. Let's take this one here that I just had, and I'm going to remove it so that I don't have any. And you'll see that it doesn't fit nicely just yet, but I know that all of my other images here are the same size, so that when they replace the other ones, it will work just fine. So if I click on this one, let's go ahead and replace a few of these while we have some time here. Let's click on this one. I'll click here. And again, I want to browse my own computer. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select another one here. And we'll gradually just replace all of them. And you can add more, and I can't quite remember how many. I think you can add to each unit, but you can add multiple units to this. Okay. So again, we can come back again, and I can keep doing this. We'll click on this one now, and we'll substitute, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to browse my own computer, and let's select the third one down. And notice, because all the other ones that I have created are uniform in size, it's gradually working itself out in terms of this grid that I have going here. Now, you'll notice that the slideshow butts up against the bottom here, the footer. Well, I want to change that. So if I click on here, you'll notice that I can, instead, if I want to show bullets, I can do that or not. If I want to show text or not, let's go ahead and show text, because then I can give titles to all of these. If I want to change the spacing, I can do that. Okay. If I want to show full width, I can do that. So it does give me options in here. It's up to you, how you want this to look. Now, there should be down here a place for me. I was able to change the spacing on some of the other ones, but not necessarily with this one. So we'll leave the spacing here. But you'll notice at the top and the bottom, okay, I want to, change the padding. So maybe I can do that down here, and I can go back up here, and you can notice a padding at the top. I can go ahead and increase the padding here. Or maybe I can change the background color, because I need to change this here. Let's change this unit. There we go. And let's click in here. And let's see if I can't change. We got the spacing, full width. Why can't I change the padding? So it's not allowing me to change the padding for that. So since I don't like how this is coming out down here, what I might do to this is change the background color, or I could use a background image. So let's click the color here. Come on. Oh, there it is right there. And I'm going to go with just white. So that fits together a little bit nicer. And maybe I would want to do the same, pick, I don't like the color anymore that I've selected for the nav bar, but I'm, gradually getting this worked out. Okay. And if you want to see how this looks, we can preview in browser. So this is automatically saving for us. So as I come up here and I click on this little button right here, it just popped up in my browser up here. So this is how it's going to look. So if I click here to home, it just takes me where I am. If I click the about, note that it takes me down here. If I select resume, it takes me here. If I select the portfolio, it takes me there. If I select contact, it's already down there. But if I go back to home again, it brings me back up to the top. So I'm ready to go. The next step would be to, let's move this up here, is to publish this, after I've edited all this. And again, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change the logo out here. I'm going to use my own, or maybe I've decided that I don't want a logo there, or maybe I want an image of myself. It really doesn't matter. You can come in here and change the address. There's a whole bunch of other things that we can add to. Yeah, so Carlos, this particular website that I have here is just one long page. And if you want to develop your Mobirise website like this, you can. Or if you would rather have it, if you have a lot of content, then maybe it's worthwhile breaking it down into multiple pages. Now, for the website that you go to click on the link for the webinar, there's just too much content. It has to be on separate pages. But for my website that was created here in Mobirise, I did it as a demonstration to prove to you that you can have an interesting and kind of a nicely designed website without a whole bunch of muss or fuss. But there isn't that much content to warrant having multiple pages. So right now, this is just all one page. But it functions by having the navigation up here as if it were, separate pages. So again, they aren't working now because it's not published in a browser. But again, if I go to resume, it just scrolls down. And again, I think a lot of this has to do with how much content you have. If you don't have a lot of content, then why put it on multiple pages? Have it, but to have the individual have to scroll up and down is kind of a nuisance. I think it's much easier to have this static nav bar and allow them to click and to go where they want to go on your website. Is your website, as you continue to add content to it, then maybe you will want to switch and add multiple pages. And if you have multiple portfolios, then maybe each of the portfolios could exist on their own page. Again, if your resume is really kind of brief and short, then it could be on this page. The same with the about, the content. Excuse me. Okay. So the last thing to do when we're ready to publish this So, I mean, I clearly haven't finished this, but, you know, I've gone over this, I think, enough that if you want to click in here, you want to add more content or you want to move around. So let's go ahead here. So the other question that I have from Natalie is you want to make your own background in Illustrator. Yes, you would use RGB color and you would use a JPEG. I would probably use a large image to answer your question and make it 2,000 pixels wide by about 1,200 pixels deep. Okay, so when you're done with it in Illustrator, you might want to open it in Photoshop and then make sure that it's 72 pixels per inch, that it's the size that you want it, as I said, around 2,000 pixels wide by around 1,200, 1,250 pixels deep, and then save it as a JPEG inside Illustrator. I think you'll get a better result. You might want to download some of their images and see the sizes that they use for theirs. But when this is done, again, I'll bring this back up here again, and I click on here. Notice that it brings it up in a nice little slideshow here. You can go, you know, forward, backwards. And when you're done, you close it. All built in. No muss, no fuss. Later this semester, I'm going to show you how to do a wow slider, which is also built by the people who make Mobirise. And it's those slideshows that I've used on my website. They're not that difficult to build and to insert inside your pages, inside Dreamweaver, and publish them. Okay, so we will be building our own slideshow later that is done with Mobirise. And Mobirise has some others that are available that you can download too. And Mobirise, the wow slider is available for free. Okay, so that's kind of nice. But as I said, what you want to do next after you have set up your entire web page here is that now you're ready to publish it. So we're going to do it a little bit differently because it does give you options here when you want to publish. Oh, before I do that, if you want to go back or undo a block parameter, you click this undo button here. And if you want to redo, it will, as soon as you do that, it will have a redo button. So this one up here, as soon as I publish this, it's going to give me some options here. So I want to publish this to a local drive folder. You also have the option of FTP, but you better be aware of all of the, you know, where the root folder is located and FTP location and that sort of thing. You can also do it with GitHub pages. I don't know anything about GitHub. Maybe some of you do. And by default, you can publish changes only. I'm just going to, because I haven't published anything, I'm going to publish the whole thing. Well, I want to publish it to a local drive. And I'm going to browse. And I have mine saved on my desktop that I did for today. Here's my Mobirise folder. Okay. For fall 2020. So I'm going to go ahead and open that. And I'm going to publish it there. And it might take a couple of seconds to do that. And the reason that I'm doing that there is because my preference in how I published mine, I'm going to say trust the application because I have some, oh, come on. Oh, yes, it is. Come on. Let's continue. 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 There we go. So now that I have this done, and it's published, but it's published locally, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up Dreamweaver. And this will be the last thing that I do today. And I'll show you the one that I have for myself. Okay. So this is, you know, the website that you guys see for this week in class. But I'm going to switch. I'm going to go ahead and close this page. And I'm going to close this, which is what we've done for our class. But up here on the right, I'm going to switch to my Mobirise website. Okay. So let's come down here. I named it gallery934.com. Okay. So this right now is linking to my folder, my root folder that I use for Mobirise. And what I can do is I can leave, I don't have to open any pages at all, but I created a site, okay? I created a new site specifically for this website. And then, so if I go ahead and I manage the site, you can see I named it Gallery934, and it's GoDaddy is the host that I use. And if I double click on that, this is the location of the local root folder that I created. Now, what I also need to do is under advanced personal settings or advanced local settings, I need to click here. And then you'll notice inside, if I go inside the assets folder for Mobirise, that I want to select the image folder that's contained inside that, because you'll notice that they really condense everything for us. Here are all these other folders, some that we will use and some you won't, but we want to make sure that this is linked to that image folder. Okay. And then the last thing will be the server. Now, I'm using GoDaddy, but you're going to have to create a separate one for free and infinity free or free infinity.com. So you might have to use a separate email account if they don't allow you to create multiples. I haven't tried that yet. I was going to leave that for another day to actually publish this. Okay, and that's where you're going to put the FTP information, just like we did with the lesson 7. So this is all set up and I'm done. Now what I can do is I can, without any of these files open, I can go ahead here and I can open this up like so. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to link to the remote server. Now this is my GoDaddy folder here. And see if this works for me. And if it doesn't, then I might have to, there we go. Okay, so this is in here, and this isn't really where I want to go, but then what I would do, once that was linked, is that I could insert the assets here. I could go ahead and bring the assets folder over, and I could bring the index page over, and then I would be done. But I've done this a little bit different with GoDaddy. But instead, what if I were to use the one with infinity.com? Then let's see what we have there. So I would have to go back and edit that. So I'm going to turn this off. Let's change this. And I'm going to use the server that I used for Infinity instead, just to show you how to change this. So this is, actually, let's go back and let's build a brand new site here. So instead, I'm going to, we have enough time to do this today. So I'm going to go to Site, New Site, and I'm going to name it Art 196. Fall 2020 Mobirise. So I know which one it is. And I need to make sure that I link to that folder. So I'm going to go to my desktop, and here's that folder. I'm going to make sure that it's linked to that. Then I'm going to go back into Advanced, go to Local Info. I'll click here. let's go inside the assets folder. And I'm going to go ahead and select the image folder and choose that. And the last thing is to select the server. Now I'm going to go ahead and I don't have one at the moment, but I want to use the one of the ones that I've used for the lessons. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to cancel this. And I'll have to put this in later. So I'd have to go back. I don't have that website open at the moment. Let me see if I go back and if I do have it available. Yeah, I do have it available. So let's try one of these. So I'm going to highlight the user. I don't know if this is the right one or not. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add a server, FTP, and then we're going to go ahead and use the server that they've given us. And this one is, the address is ftp upload.net. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste the username in there that I've used. Now I have two accounts with Infinity right now, so I don't know if this, I'll find out in a second if this is the right one. And let's go ahead and let's show the password here. And I'll put that in and we'll test it. I'm going to copy that information and put that inside the password and paste, and I'm going to test and make sure it's okay. And it works and I'm in good shape, so I'll save it all and I'm done. Okay, so what I can do now is I'm going to go back here now that I've set up that new account, and let's go ahead and connect to the server and see what I've got. There we go. So this isn't the one that I've used yet. Or no, it is. My apologies. This is the one that I've already used. So I need to go back and do the other one. You can see that I have green styles and images and index and that sort of thing. So in order to overwrite all of that, I would have to delete all of these and put the assets folder and the index.html. Those are the only things that you would have to put inside this indoc or hdocs folder, and I would be set to go, and it would be published. And as soon as I put in the URL, it would be published, and I'd be all set. So this will be the second website that you guys build. Okay. Any questions so far? Any other questions? Let's see, is this like Wix? Yes, auto saves. The question is, does it automatically save changes? Yes, it does. It's an auto save. It's similar to Wix in that regard. Hold on here. Let me go back to Mobirise. There we go. I wanted to go back to Mobirise and finish up with this. So it's, I mean, I've gone through this in quite a bit of detail, but when you download it, there are no instructions for this. You just kind of, grope your way around it and figure it out. And that's similar to Wix. And, when the semester is over, you'll have a pretty good idea of what's going on underneath the hood. And when you open this in Dreamweaver, you can open up the pages and you can go in and you can edit the code. It gets kind of overwhelming. It's, if you think it's complicated in what we have done in the lesson so far, there's a lot of code that's in here that is not used, but it's available in case you do need it. So it can get really complicated, but you can go back and you can edit these to your heart's content. And you can customize it until the cows come home. So it works pretty nicely in that regard. It's a very easy way, as I said, to build a quick and dirty website. And I would go back again And if you if you decide after you've done this one that you think it's not a bad idea to have it, I would buy the Mobirise kit, which is what I have done. And then if you do happen upon a client who is, you know, a realtor or maybe a friend who's, you know, wants to put a quick website together for their wedding. And again, there was, I forget who it was, and my apologies to a student who has a beauty website that we will look at that she did in Wix this Thursday, but it would be a quick way of doing that. You should be able to put yours together in an afternoon. For commerce, you know, again, for restaurants, portfolios, schools, you name it, all kinds of stuff here. A church, tons and tons of templates. And if you buy the kit, you have access to all of these. You just have to put in the access codes when they email them to you. Okay. So that's pretty much it for today. Do you have any questions before we call it quits today? No? No? We're all done? Okie doke, then we are done for today. Let me, before you leave, let me pause the recording, and I will continue to take roll to make sure, you know, everybody's here. So let me go ahead and bring up participants. And I'm going to put that up here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to